What's up, guys? I'm Cody Brockway, and you're back here for another episode of Brockway's Vinyl Bites, baby. Yeah, let's bring it. Woohoo! And we have my most loyal co-host over here, Mr. Kermit the Frog. Say hi, Kermit. Hello! Oh, there you go. You got a hello from me. You got a hello from Kermit. We're off to a good start, aren't we? Right here on Brockway's Vinyl Bites. Yes, we are. So today we are going through some of my most favorite debut albums of all time. Now, naturally, I couldn't pull out every single one because we'd be here for days. But I managed to pull out 12 albums here that I really am passionate about. I love these records, and these were really great jump starts to excellent careers from all these musicians. And they cover a lot of ground. There's some hip-hop here, there's some metal, rock, prog rock, you name it. I've done my best to cover some of my personal favorites here. Now, naturally, because, like I said, there's so many that I could choose, this will probably just be part one to a multi-part series in the near future, right here on Brockway's Vinyl Bites. But if I missed any in this episode today, please tell me down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I love interacting with you guys, and I love I love all of you. Thank you so much for watching the channel. I appreciate you big time. Anyway, let's get so I have these in order from the 60s to the 90s here. So let's just get right in it with the money shot here. This is a very first pressing of a 1963 UK mono edition of the Beatles' Please Please Me. Yeah, this is nuts. I'm so lucky to have this. It's absolutely crazy. Look, it's mono. Let's pull out the sleeve here. Pretty cool. And it's got that glossy cover too. It's got the number PMC 1202. And you can even tell by the way, like, there's this outline around the edge of the record here. This is a very, very original album. And we got the Parlophone label on the vinyl too. Pretty cool. It's the real deal, my friends. It's the real deal. We're keeping it real here on Brockway's Vinyl Bites. If this record would just get back in the sleeve, it would be lovely. Okay, there we go. That is the Beatles' Please Please Me. We're going to 1965 here. This is not an original pressing, but it's a great album. Now, how are you going to talk about debut albums and not talk about this classic album? I mean, you got Break On Through to the Other Side, Soul Kitchen, The Crystal Ship, 20th Century Fox, Alabama Song, Whiskey Bar, of course, the epic Light My Fire, Backdoor Man, I Looked at You, End of the Night, Take It As It Comes, and the epic The End. Of course, this is the self-titled album by The Doors. I don't know if you needed me to tell you that, but anyway, this is an excellent album. Been a long time since I played it. I should definitely give this a spin again because I love this thing. All right, you've probably seen me talk at length about this one before due to the live stream that I did a couple weeks ago over on the Prog Corner with Mr. Scott Lade. But in the Court of the Crimson King, I talk about this pretty much every chance I get. I love this album. Love, love, love this record. 21st Century Schizoid Man opens up the record. I Talk to the Wind, Epitaph, Moonchild, In the Court of the Crimson King, the title track, of course. It's only 5 songs, but all the songs are fairly lengthy, and with good reason, because they're all amazing. If you saw one of my most recent videos, What is Prog Rock? We talk at length about prog rock as a whole, and definitely talk about this album quite a bit in that video. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. All right, we're gonna head into 2 albums here that were some of the kind of like the precursors to heavy metal. Led Zeppelin 1 from 1969. Absolutely iconic record. Look, you got a young band of Robert Plant, John Bonham, Jimmy Page, and John Paul Jones. Just totally excellent. Obviously an iconic classic debut album. This is atop many people's lists, and I'm no exception from that. Just totally awesome. You got Good Times, Bad Times, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, You Shook Me, Dazed and Confused, Your Time Is Gonna Come, Black Mountain Side, Communication Breakdown, I Can't Quit You, Baby, and How Many More Times? Oh gosh, I'm not a singer. Anyway, I'm a drummer, okay? And this is one of my most influential drumming albums for sure. Gotta love John Bonham. So Led Zeppelin 1, rock on. And we're gonna go into this classic album, Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath. And of course, there's the cut that opens up the album, which is called Black Sabbath. So it's Black Sabbath, Black Sabbath, Black Sabbath. There you go. Say that 8 times fast. One of the most influential breakthrough debut metal albums. Just totally incredible. you know, you got that haunting, you know, Black Sabbath that opens up the album. Then you got The Wizard, which is vastly upbeat in comparison to the first track. It's like, you know, you put the needle down and you get this doomy, slow track. It's just epic, and then The Wizard is this bow, bow, down. This upbeat sort of thing. It's got harmonica and everything. It's really great. Then you got The Wasp. You got Behind the Wall of Sleep, basically an NIB, which, yeah, just great. That closes out side 1. You got side 2, Wicked World, A Bit of Finger, Sleeping Village, and Warning, which are, I guess, yeah, so Wasp and Behind the Wall of Sleep, basically an NIB, play out as a 9-minute track altogether. And the same with A Bit of Finger, Sleeping Village, and Warning, they play out as a 14-minute track altogether. But I think in some digital versions of it, they split the tracks up. Anyway, great album. Classic, iconic, I love it. Going back to the Progosphere here for a minute, we're going to talk about the 1970 debut album from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Yeah, iconic album. Can I say, this is one of the benchmark landmark prog albums. This is their first record together. This was really starting them off on a bang, and they would ride a high wave of just total awesomeness for many years to come after this. But we got The Barbarian, Take a Pebble, Knife Edge, The Three Fates, Tank, and of course the big single Lucky Man. And of course this is an original German pressing too. Pretty cool. On the Manticore label. Very nice. Very, very nice. Love this album. ELP by ELP. Alright, next up, we're going to talk about an album that would jumpstart the career, one of the most amazing careers that rock history has ever seen, for one of the most amazing bands that rock has ever seen, ever. Well, they don't really need much introduction, I should say. Sorry, can't speak today. But we're talking about the first Queen album from 1973. Totally fantastic album. Listen what you got here. You got Keep Yourself Alive, Doing All Right, Great King Rat, My Fairy King, Liar, one of the heaviest songs this band wrote, and they wrote many. The Night Comes Down, Modern Times Rock and Roll, Son and Daughter, also one of the heaviest songs that this band ever wrote. Jesus, and the first incarnation of Seven Seas of Rye. What a great record from 1973. It's opera, it's metal, it's prog, it's all of these things all wrapped up into one beautiful record. Love it. Self-titled by Queen, 1973. Queen won. Alright, we're going to go ahead to 1978. We're going to talk about an album that would inspire many an aspiring guitar player, drummer, bassist, vocalist, all that stuff, sure, but definitely guitar players really flocked to this one, and for good reason. Of course, it is the very first record by Van Halen from 1978. This thing totally changed the game when it came out, and it's still changing the game to this day. Many guitar players I know, in fact, all the guitar players I know, swear by this album as being one of the holy grails of guitar playing in rock history. You know, the track listing on this is, it's not in order on the back, so let's just read it in the order that it is in the back. I know it's wrong, but You Really Got Me, Jamie's Crying, On Fire, Running with the Devil, I'm the One, Ain't Talking About Love, Little Dreamer, Feel Your Love Tonight, Atomic Punk, Eruption, and Ice Cream Man. So the album opens up with Running with the Devil. You get that train sound coming in, and all of a sudden it cues to Michael Anthony's bass. Boom, 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 boom. Then the guitar comes in with the and you think of all the music that was happening at the 70s, happening in the 70s at this point, sorry, and the way that this whole band was mixed and produced. Ted Templeman, man, what a legend. The way that, you know, this whole album sounds was like, whoa, this is a new era happening here. There's nothing that sounded like that at the time. And it's a landmark album. Then, of course, after Running with the Devil, you'd hear Eruption with that, and then insane guitar solo. Man, that thing is still changing the lives of guitar players today. It is still melting the faces of everyone, even non-guitar players. I'm not really a guitar player, I'm a drummer, right? I love Alex Van Halen too, but you know, the guitar playing on this is just totally fantastic. And you know, some of the songs you don't hear as much, like Atomic Punk, Feel Your Love Tonight, Little Dreamer, Ice Cream Man, I know it's a cover, but On Fire. Yeah, this whole album is just solid, top to bottom. It's just great. Just awesome. Van Halen 1 from 1978. Let's go to 1980 with one of my top 5 favorite bands of all time. We got the first one from Iron Maiden. Yeah, I love this album. We got Prowler, Remember Tomorrow, Running Free, Phantom of the Opera, Transylvania, Strange World, Sanctuary, Charlotte the Harlot, and of course the title track, which is the, you know, it's Iron Maiden. So this is a very, very early lineup of the band. You got Paul Di'Anno on vocals, Steve Harris, of course, on bass, Dennis Stratton on guitar, which would be the only album that he would do with Iron Maiden, Dave Murray on guitar, and Clive Burr on drums. This is a very punky sort of side of Iron Maiden, but you can see the progressive metal elements really poking through here, especially with longer tracks like Phantom of the Opera and stuff. Steve Harris is really, he's coming into his own, right? And he's every bit a Jethro Tull fan as he is a Black Sabbath fan at this point, and it's a really great concoction, and they have a really great sound, and they would hone in on their sound many more times throughout the future. This band definitely has changed their sound over time, and just gone in different directions and things like that, but all their music's great. They really have one of the most impressive discographies of any band that I know. I mean, to only have 1 or 2 sucky albums and to have a huge comeback the way they did in the 2000s when later singer Bruce Dickinson would rejoin the band, just awesome, and that run of records they did since then. But we're talking about the first one. It's totally awesome. I love this album. If you haven't heard it, go check it out, but I bet if you're watching Brockway's Vinyl Bites, you probably heard this one. Anyway, let's go forward to some students of Iron Maiden, I should say. Well, we got the first one from Metallica. This is an original Canadian Banzai Records edition of Kill 'Em All. Fantastic album. Totally great. Let's look at the label here. This is the Banzai label. So this was Canada's subsidiary record label for Megaforce, which was, Megaforce was in the States, right? But in Canada they had Banzai. And so they only did albums that, weren't at the time on big labels. Of course, by the time Metallica would hit Master of Puppets, they were already on Elektra. But, of course, just an iconic album. And this is a mint condition original, too. Very nice. Next up, we're going for not an original. This is a recent repress, but it is of another student of Iron Maiden's and very good friend of Metallica's, I should say. We got the first one from Anthrax, Fistful of Metal. This is also a very early lineup of Anthrax. Of course, Joey Belladonna was not the singer yet at this point. That would be the next album. But we've got Scott Ian, rhythm and wang guitar. Of course, he's still in the band to this day. Dan Spitz on lead guitar. Neil Turbin on vocals. Dan Lilker on bass. And Charlie Benante on drums. Charlie Benante, one of my favorite drummers of all time. Of course, Charlie and Scott are the only guys still in Anthrax to this very day. In fact, even on the next album, the lineup was totally different. Like I said, they had Joey Belladonna too. Iconic album, great thrash metal. Death Rider, Metal Thrashing Mad, Soldiers of Metal. Awesome. It's been a while since I've given this a spin. I gotta listen to it again, but it's a great album. I love Anthrax. Rock on. No, it's not the end yet. It's not the end. I know I say that at the end, but it's not the end. So stay right there. We only got 3 more to get through. Wow. We just blew through these like nothing. So we're going to 1990 with this one, and this is a grunge record. Of course, we've got Alice in Chains, Facelift. What an awesome album. The lineup on this album of Alice in Chains is Lane Staley, Jerry Cantrell, Mike Starr, and Sean Finney. What a fantastic album. We got We Die Young, Man in the Box, Sea of Sorrow, Love, Hate, Love, Put You Down. This is a great album. Just a totally fantastic album. And Man in the Box would really, this would become one of their big hits, right? But this day, fantastic record. This is heavy, man. This is borderline metal. This album. Alice in Chains, Facelift. Love it. Love, love, love it. All right, next up. We're going to 1994. This is a band that totally created and pioneered their own sound right from the beginning. And when people first heard this for the first time, they just went, whoa, what is going on here? 1994's debut from Korn. This is the very first Korn album. Yeah, it's epic. It's epic. You got the heavy guitars, you got the heavy emotional lyrics, you got, crazy drumming, crazy bass playing that sounds like, Fieldy the bass player really brought a hip-hop element to this. And of course, on some tracks, there's even some 808s here and there. But hip-hop meets, brooding heavy metal. That's cool. I'm here for it. I love this album. I love Korn. I love pretty much everything they've done. Of course, the album opens up with Blind. Are you ready? know. And you got Ball Tongue, you got Clown, you got Divine, you got Chutes and Ladders, and you got Daddy, which is the 15-minute epic that takes up all of side D, and that's a pretty dark and heavy song. We won't go too much into that, but if you want to go check it out, I'd recommend it. Just go have a listen. It's quite the it's quite the trip. It's quite a tune. But yes, this is Korn's very first album from 1994, and that brings us to the last one. We were talking a little bit about hip hop. Well, this is my favorite rapper. 1999, this is Eminem. This is the one he would burst onto the scene with. There was no hip-hop at the time that sounded like this. He was kicking ass and taking names, you know. There's, he's got production from Dr. Dre. There's some really sick beats on here, but his rhymes, his flow, he just kills it on this album. This would jumpstart an absolutely incredible career for him. I'm a big fan of Eminem, always have been, always will be. We got My Name Is, Guilty Conscience, Brain Damage, 97 Bonnie and Clyde. You got Role Model, you got Come On Everybody, and Just Don't Give a Fuck. As the World Turns, Bad Meets Evil, you know, this is a great album. And I've even got a 45, a Record Store Day edition of My Name Is, that came out a couple years ago. Of course, this is the 20th anniversary expanded edition. I do have the regular edition in there as well, but this is the one I wanted to bring out. Absolutely classic hip-hop album. You know, some of the stuff that he was touching on here, you know, was unheard of in music at the time. He just totally opened new doors for where hip hop could go. It's heavy, it's funny. There's a lot of he's got some really funny lines in places on here, but then he's got, you know, darker tones, you know, just talking about his life and biographical tunes and stuff, right? But anyway, this is an awesome album. I love it very much. Slim Shady LP by Eminem from 1999, and that brings us to the end of part one of the greatest debut albums of all time, or at least my favorite ones, you know. Yeah, of course there's going to be a part 2 for this sometime in the future, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe right here on Brockway's Vinyl Bites. We're happily serving you up the good content. We love having you here, so thank you very much. God bless, much love. Have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to subscribe, and of course, rock on!